Hi guys, and welcome to another tutorial. First, happy Valentine's Day. It's the day of love, but we should be loving everybody every day. So if you're not watching this on Valentine's Day, I still love you because it's everyday love. Woo! So today I'm going to be covering a particle system because we haven't done one for a while, and I'm going to try and do something a little bit different. So we're going to make something lovey-dovey because obviously it's the day of love. So we're going to make something with hearts. So I just have a heart. This is all I'm starting with. I haven't got anything pre-planned. I haven't got anything... I don't even have anything in mind. I'm just going to make this up as we go. Let's do this. So let's start with the material. Heart underscore M. Let's open this up. Let's grab our texture and drag him in. Now I'm going to make a particle system, so I need particle color. I'm going to put the color into the emissive. I'm just going to change this really quick to a translucent. I'm going to hold M and left click for a multiply and put the texture in with the alpha of the particle color and plug this into opacity. Now this lets us change the alpha inside the particle. Yay! Ooh. Now that's probably all I'm going to do with the texture for now. Yeah, save that. Close it down. I'm going to right click particle system, hearts underscore P. Let's do this. Right. First things first, go into the required and let's give this the heart we just made. Heart. Now while that's loading in, I'm going to set this emitter loop to 1 because I want to make something. I think I'm going to burst these. So, they're coming. There they are. Lovely, lovely hearts. I actually don't want them to do that. I'm going to set their spawn constant to 0 and I'm going to go to their burst, add an element, and I'm going to set this to 1. So I just want one spawn. Their life, its life rather, we'll leave that set to 1 to 1. Its initial size I'm going to set to, I'm actually going to just change this to a vector constant and change this to 100. Its initial velocity is probably fine. Its color of a life, I have this nice pink here, which is 20012. Yeah, we'll go 20012, and then that's fading out into white. Although I think I'm going to change its lifespan to 2, so it lasts a little bit longer. And then I'm going to go to the color of a life, and under the alpha I'm going to add a new point, and I'm going to say at 0 start at 0, then at 0.5 go to 1, and then at 1 go to 0 again. There we go. Now we get this much nicer fade out onto the glow. Oh, it's going a bit too high for my liking, so I'm actually going to change this down to a 50 on the initial velocity, just so it's only ever climbing to the same height as before, because we've doubled its life, we're going to halve its velocity. Now, what am I going to do with this? Let's say that we'll give this an event actually. Event generator, and under the events elements we +1 type. We're going to say on death, and we're going to call this pop. I'm going to call it pop. So in death pop, we're going to add a new emitter. Right click, event receiver spawn, and I'm actually going to set this to death and pop. So yep, now I need to just change this spawn real quick so that 0 spawn, they loop only once. Can we get this to restart? There we go. And then here we want to I don't want to do this. Actually, can we set this to burst? And then in the spawn here, we'll change this as a burst. count of 20. No, they just keep going and going. So perhaps a event isn't the way to go. Maybe we'll go into the required. We'll add an emitter delay of 2 seconds. So then they'll pop once that heart disappears. Did I not? Yep, emitter loops 1. It's the only one that's happened once. So poof. Their initial location is going to have to change. Location. The initial location, we're just going to slide them up, I guess. We want to set this to a constant, and it's going to be higher still. This is 50. Poof. 75. We'll say 75. Poof. A little bit more. A little more. 90 on the Z. Puff. Yes. I'm going to change this to the hearts. Come on. Hearts. No. Poof. Pop some hearts. I want their velocity to be a bit more violent than that, to be honest. 400, 400. Poof. Oh my. 400, and then we're going to say negative 400, negative 400, and negative 400. And now poof. So when that disappears now, we're just popping some hearts, and we're going to give these the same sort of color of a life. We'll start these very bright. Poof. There we go. Boing. Poof. Now I could add like another little effect in there so that, you know, we get like a little animation here. So actually what I might do is I might say go back into the the particle emitter, the first particle emitter. We're going to add a size by life, and at 0 we're going to start them at 0, and then I'm going to add maybe 2 more elements. I'm going to say at 0.5 they'll be fully grown, and then at 0.8 we'll make it 0.75, 0.75, and then at 1 we'll set this to be 1.2. So it should get to the end and then pulsate and pop. Poof! There we go. Now that's quite a slow little poof we've got there. I suppose that, yeah, I'm going to change that to 0.7 here. So there we are. I don't like the initial velocity. Every now and then it's going to the side, and I just want this to go up. So I'm changing the initial velocity to just be Z50. There we go. So grows, little poof there. In fact, I think on the size by life, when it throbs back down, I'm actually going to set the throb to 0. So it poof, there we go. I'm actually going to speed that up a little bit. So we say in value of add another one here, and we'll say this is the one at 1.2, 1.2, 1.2. I'll change this one to be 0.9 and say this is zeros across the board. And then here I'm going to set this to 0.85 and set this to 1. So I can make sure that we don't... Ooh, that was a bit too quick, wasn't it? Maybe that's a bit too quick. Let's delete that real quick. We'll undo that. Yeah, that's okay. Although it's a little bit clunky, so maybe I'm gonna let this happen faster. So 0.4. So it grows quicker, and then a quick blast. 0.3 for no 0.1. Oh no, 0.1's very quick. 0.2. a little throb and pop. Cool. Nice. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add something to the floor, I guess. Let's add a new emitter. Quickly change this to hearts, or other heart. And again, I just want one emitter loop. The emitter delay, I want this to happen at the same time, so 2. So that only happens when we get the poof. I'm going to give this a load. I need to take away its velocity. I'm going to give this a location. I'm going to make this cylindrical. And what I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to change it from a constant to a curve. I'm going to give it 2 points. At 0 it's going to be 0, and at 1 it's going to be, I don't know, 500. Okay, their lifetime I'm going to set to be infinite, I suppose. Actually not infinite, maybe 5 seconds, so they do actually die out over time. Then in the cylinder I need to give them a start height of 0. I'm going to turn off positive Z and negative Z. I'm going to say surface only, so that if it's ever so slightly under a mesh it will put them back on top of the mesh. I'm going to right click and go for an orientation and lock the axis. I'm going to choose Z so that these are always on the floor and pointing up. Yay! I'm going to quickly give these a initial rotation. There you go, now they're randomly rotated. And I'm going to type data GPU sprites these, and their spawn. I'm actually going to change this to a constant curve as well and give this 2 points, and I start them off at spawning 0 and end them off spawning maybe 400. Let's see how that is. Wow. So there we go, they start to just scatter around on the floor in a circle and then fade out. Let's give this a higher number, maybe 800. It's a little bit thin towards the edge, doesn't it? So let's see, if we make this a slightly larger circle. Wow. Yeah, see, the distribution is not very great, so we're going to go to the spawn. We're going to say we'll start with a value of 400 and we'll end with a value of 4000. Oh, that's a lot of love. So maybe I'm gonna halve that and have 200 to 2000, and nice amount of love. Maybe too much love in the middle. We'll say 100 in the middle, and we're gonna give these a color. I'm gonna make this the same pink as this. No, I'm not. That is very, very bright. In fact, I might turn their value down to 5, so they give off a little bit of glow, but nowhere near as much. Because it's still fading out to white. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. So emitter, duplicate, and the color of life, I'm going to change these to a lighter pink. So we get some, yeah, maybe not that much lighter. Maybe there. You'll be able to, yeah, you can tell that there's a different shade of pink in there. And then if I make another, so duplicate this again, emitter, come on, duplicate, and this time their color is going to be more red. A bit more passion to this one. Ooh. And then we have some more little love hearts in there. I'm just going to quickly check the bounds, and you'll see that the bounce is really weird, so I'm just going to set the fixed bounds there. So the bounce will always be the size of the actual emitter, and they all fade out. Ah, poof. Now, let's save that really quick and we'll see how this looks in the level. Let's just drag him in. Oh. Poof. Now you notice that they're not spawning on top of the mesh as I asked them to. Perhaps I didn't get that one quite right. Restart the level, and poof! Oh, lots of love. So, okay. I'm actually going to let this go a little bit higher, so I'm going to set this to 150 on the... but of course this means that this needs to have a different initial location, so maybe 180. It's essentially doubled. Higher still, 240 maybe? Yeah, 240. So let's minimize this down and we're just going to quickly reset the level and pop! I know, see, you notice that that wasn't quite high enough there. Poof. Yeah, they need to be a little bit higher. 260 perhaps. A little bit more, 280. 280. All this trial and error. Yay! Poof! I actually want this to burst some more because now that we've made the area bigger, so spawn, the burst has got 20. The burst is going to have 100 of them. I'm going to change this to a GPU sprites as well, because you don't want to put all this onto the CPU. There we are. That's quite a large field of love. In honesty, that's quite a that's quite a lot of love. But there we have that now. Poof. I wonder. Let's see. I've still got this. Is still the level blueprint for. Oh, come on. Because I have a copy of the rings blueprint. Hello. Hehehe. Can I set this to be my hearts? No. So I need to maybe spawn emitter. Spawn emitter at location. It's hearts underscore p. The location, I actually want that. The rotation is irrelevant. Plug this into here. And now let's see if we can. Oh, that one's still going to pop. You lovely hearts. Ah, there we go. Poof. Yay. This isn't that lovely. Don't we feel loved, guys? Poof. Okay, so let me just quickly show you this blueprint. We'll get rid of that because we don't need this or this. So essentially what this blueprint's doing, this is just a level blueprint, and I have a button press. It's the same blueprint as in my magic circle. I've just exchanged it for a spawn emitter, basically. So it's checking if it can summon on M pressed, and then it's spawning an emitter at the location based on where the third person character is, removing a few of the Z units because the character location is slightly higher than the floor, using that as the location and setting can summon to off, giving a delay and then setting can summon back to on again to make sure that we can't just spam this thing. I mean, should I spam this thing? Should we see how that goes? I mean, it's Valentine's Day, right? Let's just have love. There we go. Let's just bypass the branch and let's love things, guys. Whee! Oh yes. So there we go. That's quite a lot of love. So I'm gonna leave that amount of love there. That's been a weird one, just for because it's Valentine's Day. This is probably not going to get used by many people, so Sorry for the people that requested specific things, but this has been so much fun, and sometimes you've just got to do something that you find hilarious, because why not? I mean, look at that. Do you want to make a super kawaii love game? No, let's not make a super kawaii love game. But there you go, guys. It's a really, really lovely little particle system for you. If you want to use that, you go for it. It's a really fun one. You could do the same thing, really, like if you had, if you wanted to use some magic to spawn maybe flowers or something, or ivy, something of that sort. You could use the same sort of emitter system to make them spawn in a radius around you like that. So yeah, some of this stuff is transferable. Boo. So there you go. Have fun with that. Happy Valentine's Day. Love you guys, and see you next time.